Have you ever had that one quiet moment when everything around you slows down? Your phone is silent. No one is calling your name. No responsibilities are pulling at you. And suddenly, a thought hits you so hard, it almost feels like it's whispering directly into your soul. What if I don't actually need a spouse? What if I don't need children? What if I don't even need friends the way I thought I did? And yeah, I know how that sounds, almost illegal in a way. Like society would immediately raise an eyebrow and say, "Hold up, that's not how life is supposed to work, but stay with me here." Because this isn't about rejecting people, this is about something way deeper. Something most people never reach in their entire lifetime. And that's the moment you stop confusing love with dependence and connection with obligation. Because for so long we've been sold this idea like it's gospel truth that happiness comes packaged in relationships. Like if you just find the right partner, have the right kids, build the right friend circle, then boom, life becomes complete. Like a final puzzle piece clicks and suddenly everything makes sense. But nobody really talks about the nights when people are sitting next to their spouse and still feel invisible. Or parents surrounded by kids who still feel empty inside. Or people with 1,000 friends online, but not a single person who truly understands them. And that's where the illusion starts breaking, slowly at first. Like cracks in glass, you barely notice until one day the whole thing just shifts. And you start realizing something uncomfortable but honest. You've been performing, not living. You've been playing roles, not being real. And the worst part is you didn't even notice when it started. Because society claps for it. They reward it. They call it success. They call it responsibility. They call it love. But deep down there's this quiet exhaustion that builds up over the years. Like you're always available for everyone else, but never fully present for yourself. And one day you wake up and realize you don't even know what you actually want anymore, without someone else's expectations attached to it. And that realization doesn't come with fireworks. It comes with silence, heavy silence. The kind that makes you sit on the edge of your bed and just stare for a while, thinking, wait, who am I when nobody needs anything from me? And that question can feel scary at first, almost like falling into a void, because we've been trained to believe that being needed equals being valuable. But what happens when you start questioning whether that's actually true? What happens when you start noticing that every time you overgive, overshow up, oversacrifice, there's always someone ready to take more, but rarely someone asking how you are, and slowly something shifts inside you. Not in anger, not in rebellion, but in clarity. Like your mind finally stops arguing with reality, and you start pulling back just a little, not disappearing, not running away, just stepping out of roles that don't feel honest anymore. And at first, people notice. They always do. They might say you've changed, that you're distant, that you're not the same person anymore. But what they really mean is you stopped being convenient. And that's where things get interesting. Because once you stop chasing validation from relationships, something unexpected starts happening. You start hearing yourself again, your own thoughts, your own preferences, your own instincts that were buried under years of compromise. And it feels strange at first. Almost like learning your own voice again after forgetting what it sounded like. And in that space, something dangerous to old beliefs begins to grow. Peace, not loud peace. Not fake peace, but quiet, grounded, unshakable peace. The kind that doesn't depend on anyone texting you back, or sitting next to you, or approving of your decisions. And you start to wonder, if I can feel this calm alone, then what exactly was I chasing all this time? And this is where the real shift happens, because once you experience that kind of internal stillness, you start seeing relationships differently, not as emotional survival tools, but as choices, real choices, not obligations disguised as love. And suddenly the pressure lifts, that invisible weight of constantly being available. constantly being on, constantly proving your worth through how much you give. And you realize something that feels almost rebellious in today's world. You are actually okay on your own. Not half, not broken, not waiting to be completed. Just whole in a way nobody really taught you to recognize. And yeah, that truth can feel uncomfortable because it challenges everything you were told growing up. That life is about building, settling, attaching, multiplying your identity through others. But what if that was only one version of life, not the only one? And what if some people are not meant to be constantly surrounded, but instead meant to be deeply aligned with themselves first? And when you start living from that place, something funny happens. You stop tolerating what drains you. You stop explaining yourself to people who are never listening anyway. You stop forcing conversations that feel like work. And you stop calling it loneliness when it's actually clarity. And yeah, there will be moments where the world tries to pull you back. Nostalgia will whisper. Old habits will knock on your door. People will try to remind you of who you used to be when you are easier to access, easier to control, easier to predict. But you won't fully go back because you've seen something on the other side that you can't unsee. The relief of not needing constant validation. The freedom of waking up and not immediately stepping into someone else's expectations. The quiet joy of eating alone, thinking alone, walking alone without feeling incomplete. And slowly you start to realize something powerful. Being alone and being lonely are not the same thing. Loneliness is a craving for connection that feels missing. But solitude is presence with yourself without fear. And once you feel that difference deeply, everything changes. Your standards change. Your energy changes. Even the way you look at people changes. Because now you're not seeking someone to fill a gap. You're observing whether someone adds to your already existing peace or disturbs it. And that's a completely different way of living. More selective, more intentional, more honest. And yes, some people will not understand it. They'll call it cold or selfish or detached. But those labels usually come from people still dependent on external validation to feel okay. And that's where you smile quietly, because you know something they haven't reached yet. That completeness was never something you were supposed to get from others in the first place. It was something you were supposed to remember within yourself. And once you do, life doesn't become empty. It becomes spacious. You stop running from silence and start living inside it. You stop fearing your own company and start respecting it. And suddenly, the question isn't, who do I need? It becomes, who do I actually choose? And that shift alone can change the entire direction of your life. So if you're watching this and something inside you feels triggered, uncomfortable, even slightly exposed, don't ignore it. That feeling is not telling you something is wrong with you. It's telling you something is waking up in you. And maybe, just maybe, you were never meant to be completed by someone else in the first place. Maybe you were meant to come home to yourself first. And if this message hit you even a little bit, don't just scroll away. Sit with it, think about it, and yeah, share it with someone who still thinks they need everything outside of them to finally feel whole. Because sometimes the most powerful truth is the one that quietly changes how you see your entire life without making a single sound. If you want this script to actually perform well as a viral video and not just read emotionally powerful, you need to think like a retention strategist, not just a writer. The first thing is pacing control through delivery, meaning you should deliberately slow down on emotional lines, like what if I don't actually need a spouse? And then sharply speed up on reflective or revealing sentences so the audience's brain keeps resetting attention. Use micro pauses after every heavy truth, because silence is what forces reflection, not more words. Visually, this script should never stay on one type of shot for too long alternate between close-up emotional face shots. Empty room symbolism, walking alone scenes. and subtle B-roll of daily life moments like coffee, window thinking, night streets, or slow sunrise. Because the brain retains story through contrast, not repetition. Also, add on-screen text for key psychological triggers like "you are never incomplete" or "being alone is not being lonely." Because viewers often scroll with sound off, still decide whether to stay. For engagement, don't just ask a generic question at the end place. A mid-video emotional hook like "be honest. Do you feel more peace alone or with people who drain you?" Because comments spike when viewers are still emotionally activated, not after resolution. The tone should stay conversational American English, with slight slang like "look, let me keep it real," "no cap," or "here's the truth nobody says," but only sprinkle it naturally so it feels authentic, not forced. Another key improvement is looping strategy. End the video in a way that connects back to the opening question so viewers subconsciously feel the need to rewatch to fully process it. And finally, don't rush the emotional transformation. Let the silence between ideas carry weight, because in content like this, what you don't say is often more powerful than what you do say.